how's it going, bro? My name's PewDiePie.
PewDiePie is kind of a household name at this point. You don't know who he is? Well, obviously you've just never watched YouTube, now have you? PewDiePie started uploading to YouTube in 2006, but he didn't start doing it regularly until 2010. He is now the top creator on the site with a whopping 60 million subscribers standing by his side. I mean, unless T-Series overtook him. I mean, honestly, I didn't really keep up with that part. Surely PewDiePie is spending his millions on new cars and houses, am I right? Well, you may be surprised by what PewDiePie actually spends his money on. Let's just say he's not your typical millionaire. Also, congrats to him. He recently got married to his longtime girlfriend, Marzia. I'm happy for him. Our first one is a banging game PC.
Hello! Welcome, come on in!
PewDiePie, after all, started out his life as a YouTuber streaming gaming content. Gamers all over the world know that in order to enjoy your games, you just gotta play it on the best gaming PC that money can buy. I mean, unless you're like me, who has a pretty nice laptop, mods the crap out of Skyrim and Fallout New Vegas, yeah, I'm pretty content personally. Either way, it makes perfect sense that PewDiePie would spend at least some of his hard-earned cash on a souped-up gaming rig. Although nowadays, he is being sent high-end PCs from sponsors like Origin PC as their way of advertising their products. I mean, you just can't take the modder out of PewDiePie. How much has he spent on his gaming rigs? Well, I can't tell for sure. However, consider that all high-end pre-built gaming rigs can set you back thousands of dollars. It's safe to assume that he spends right around that ballpark, actually. Our next one is top-of-the-line equipment.
This is a monster. Right. I'm a monster too.
Producing quality videos on YouTube requires using quality equipment. Just ask any YouTuber out there. The difference between 1,000 views and 1,000,000 views sometimes all comes down to production quality. Now, since PewDiePie made his millions and still is making his living from YouTube, it's just logical that he spends and continues to spend a chunk of his cash on production equipment. High-end broadcasting and streaming equipment can be quite expensive, and it's just an expense YouTubers are willing to do in order to churn out quality videos every single day. And since new and better equipment is being released continuously, it's a safe bet to say that he's still spending a good chunk of money on them. Our next one is a huge office space.
Hey guys, it's PewDiePie! Huh? How easy was that? Done.
If an operation becomes much bigger, you just can't continue to operate in a small room in your house. We've seen this hundreds of times on YouTube. A channel becomes successful, they hire more people, they move to a bigger place. This is exactly what PewDiePie did, for a time at least. PewDiePie invested in an office space where he and a team of editors worked toward producing even more content for his fans. During this time, content on his channel was being produced much faster and are coming out with a much better quality. However, he has since moved out of the office, stating that it wasn't what he wanted creatively. Although he did spend a lot of cash on the lease, remodeling, and hiring new people to work for him, he didn't close down the office due to financial constraints. I mean, if you're loaded like PewDiePie, it's quite easy to spend money on an experiment and just pull the plug on it. Our next one, exotic pets.
But not for you, Edgar. Go away. Go away, Edgar.
PewDiePie subscribers know all too well that he loves animals. He's got 2 pet dogs, Maya and Edgar, and he's got another pet that most people find quite odd, Slippy, his pet frog. He has talked a lot in the past about the pets that he would like to buy someday, and most of the animals that he wants to buy truly are exotic. They're also pretty expensive, actually. Not only to buy, but also to take care of, as any exotic pet owner would know. You're gonna spend a lot on enclosures, temperature controllers, food, the list goes on and on. Since PewDiePie hasn't bought any other exotic pets as of recording this video, it feels like a cop-out. But knowing that he is planning to spend a huge amount of cash is enough for me to include this fact in this video. Our next entry is fashion.
Welcome to my closet.
It seems like nowadays, females aren't the only ones hooked on shopping. PewDiePie recently tweeted out a purchase of a pair of shoes known as the Psycho Double Prime Knit sneaker line. These shoes cost upwards of $400 to $500. In the tweet, PewDiePie explains his regret of buying them, saying that he 100% shouldn't have bought them. However, the shoes are fresh and they do fit him well, plus he states that he loves them, so no harm, no foul. It's not just your run-of-the-mill celebrities who will ball out and spend hundreds on a pair of shoes or jackets. PewDiePie has tweeted in the past some fashion purchases that reveal just how much he's able to afford. For me personally, I don't see anything wrong with this. If you have the money, why not flaunt it? He worked hard for his money. He has all the right to spend them on whatever he wants. PewDiePie has also had an interest in buying overly expensive watches in the past. Our next entry is his own home studio.
Oh, glad you could make it on my 2017 office tour.
We discussed earlier that PewDiePie once operated out of an office. This was short-lived, however, and he has since transferred his operations to a small room in his apartment. Think of it as going back to the basics, but if you take a look at his new studio, basic is definitely not the adjective that you would use to describe it. The room, although small, is crammed with all the equipment he uses to stream and to produce his videos. For lighting, he installed state-of-the-art LED lights that change colors. He was even able to fit a fully functional green screen in the room. In this space, you'll also find all of his prized possessions, including statues in the background and his guitar tucked in the corner of the room. He indeed went back to a smaller setup, but it could be argued that this smaller setup is much better than his larger office, and it doesn't come as a surprise to find out that he spent over $10,000 on this tiny office alone. Our next entry is a taste of the exotic.
I'm gonna share my secret recipe.
PewDiePie's taste of the exotic isn't only relegated to pets. As a self-confessed foodie, he also has taste buds for exotic food. He's told people stories of the different kinds of food he's eaten in the past, both in his videos and podcasts. And what we take out of it is that he's not only a picky eater, although he did admit that he didn't care for the taste of octopus. I don't know what he's talking about, octopi taste pretty good actually. He's also a connoisseur of alcohol, and before you start tweeting that PewDiePie is a raging alcoholic and you've heard it from us, we don't mean it that way. It just means that he likes to try different kinds of wine from different parts of the world. He also collects various kinds of liquor and even has featured many taste tests on his channel. He says he loves the taste and the history behind some of his finest bottles. Our next entry is weird stuff he finds online.
Welcome to 5 weird stuff that I found online. Hello.
For a short time back in 2015, PewDiePie was producing a weird series on his channel. In this series, he would feature a variety of things he saw and bought online, the weirder the better. The series became very popular, getting millions of views per video. It also showcased how PewDiePie was ready and willing to try out anything weird and exotic. The thing is, producing this series didn't come cheap. Remember, he buys the weird stuff using his own money, and all of them cost more than what they're actually worth, not to mention the fact that almost all of them are completely useless. Although he limits the number of things he buys to 5 per episode, the total cost of just the items alone could reach well over $200. And the cost adds up considering how many of these videos he's released throughout the years. He's no longer producing the series today, not because it costs too much to be produced, but rather the internet ran out of weird things for him to buy. We're still hoping that he brings the series back, as it was truly entertaining. Let's just hope that the internet stocks up on weirdness really soon. Check out some of the stuff on Wish.com, for example. Our next entry is his own chair.
Oh yeah? But can you do this?
Being a gamer himself, PewDiePie knows the pain gamers go through sitting through a gaming marathon, not sitting in a proper chair, so it's only natural that he would develop a chair of his own, catering to primarily gamers. Since its release, his chair has taken the internet by storm, not because it's the best chair around, not even because it's one of his merch, but rather because of the memes surrounding it. In an early reveal of the PewDiePie chair, Felix can be seen comparing the chair to other chairs on the market. However, his main selling point to his chair was the fact that it could lean back to look up at the ceiling. He coined the phrase, "but can you do this?" with the chair, which has most likely helped him sell more chairs than he would have initially sold. PewDiePie is selling the chair for $400, which means it is not cheap to make. We wouldn't be surprised if Felix is paying over $200 per production of the PewDiePie chair. Our next entry is Around the World.
Hey, how's it going, bros? I'm on another trip.
Although PewDiePie originally came from Sweden, he has since moved to the United States after he became more popular. His reason being he wanted to be closer to a bigger chunk of his fan base. Aside from moving, he regularly travels to different parts of the world in order to meet more of his fans. And obviously all this traveling costs a lot of money. He also did a lot of touring after releasing his book. He did many signing tours, first in the US where his book was first released, then in multiple countries in Europe. This also included his home country of Sweden. Aside from the book tours, he also goes to different parts of the world in order to work and film some of his larger projects, like Scare PewDiePie. Is that still a thing? Kinda hope not, I didn't care for that one personally. Our next one is a new car. Sort of.
Today I have some very exciting news. I bought a new car.
It seems cliche for new millionaires to spend money on brand new luxury cars, and it seems PewDiePie thinks the same too, because although he did buy himself a new car, he went the opposite direction anyone would expect. He bought a junker. PewDiePie stood outside his studio apartment modeling in front of his new car, shouting at people on the street if they liked his car. Obviously this was made in jest, as at the time YouTube was flooded with people flexing their riches by buying new cars and flaunting them to the world. We're sure PewDiePie has since bought a more sustainable car, but he hasn't let anyone on YouTube know about it. Be humble. Be more like PewDiePie, please. No one cares about your brand new fancy car.
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
Our last entry is an extravagant wedding.
We're getting married!
Remember what I said earlier about him and Marzia getting married? It looked to be an absolutely lovely wedding, and I hope that they each had a nice day. What you probably don't know though is how much he spent on their wedding. Although the exact full amount has never been disclosed, people have gone out of their way to provide an estimate on how much the wedding may have cost, based on where the wedding was and the reception was held. The designer of Marcia's gown and the jeweler that made the couple's wedding ring were also taken into account. Various online websites have stated that he spent a minimum of £21,000 for the venue alone, £5,600 for his suit, and around £100,000 for the rings alone. The fact is, it doesn't matter how much he spent on his wedding. It's his wedding, and if spending a truckload of money on it makes him happy, who are we to judge? If you had millions to spend, what would you spend it on? Please let us know in the comments section below. Want to watch more exposés on your favorite celebrities? Just click on the videos on the screen. Again, thank you all for watching, and well, have a good day.